Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining us here on this beautiful day. We were thinking about talking today about the full moon in Scorpio and the theme there being death, rebirth, and transition. And because it's certainly been in a lot of our fields recently. And I'm sure that's the case for a lot of other people as well. So let's dive in and hope you enjoy. And please share your comments and join our conversation as you feel inspired. So good morning, guys.
Good morning. Happy Sunday. Almost the end of April. Can you believe it?
It is flying by.
Yeah. You can tell when the energy is moving fast. Just you look back, you're like, what happened? Like, where did these months go? I don't even recall what has happened this year, but it feels like a lot.
It does feel like a lot. Well, and it's interesting because we were talking a little bit before the show about, the upcoming powerful full moon in Scorpio. It's going to be a big one for us. And this is a great time when you think about Scorpio energy, to think about taking this opportunity to have this universal backing, if you will, of flow that's helping us shed these layers that, we've been shedding, and we're still trying to figure out, where we're at in this process of transformation, to a new earth, a new way of doing and looking at things. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you guys, yesterday, I went to the mall and I realized I haven't probably been to the mall in like a good year because everything's closed down. And so I go in and I'm thinking it's just going to be like another day at the mall, but it was so surreal. It was so just weird. And I almost didn't know like which side of the aisle to walk on, or you know what I mean? Like these little things that you just have been going to the mall for your whole life and you just like take for granted. But it made me really realize like things are different, everybody's got their mask on and, just things are different. So what do we do with that? And how can we have the most grace and ease as we navigate new waters for all of us?
Damn, it kicked us out again.
I just noticed that.
I don't know what's happening.
What does it say? I wonder if we've been tagged.
Try creating a new broadcast or just remove this destination from the broadcast and then re-add it.
This was a brand new one.
Oh.
See, remove. All right, now let's see if I
can see what just happened.
See if it'll let us go live again. We might be back up.
Counting.
Are we live?
Nancy, are you there?
Here's now, Nancy.
I think we might be back. I think that might have worked.
Yes, I do. I see
that.
Yeah. Everybody keep your eyes on that check. If that check turns into a red X.
Facebook keeps booting us.
Facebook is, it's all the energy. We're busting open some transformation energy.
Yeah. And we could all use some transformation in our lives. I don't know any person would say no to that, right?
No kidding.
I actually thought it would
get me out.
Scorpio don't lie, girl. Scorpio don't lie. Coming for you whether you wanted to or not. Okay,
Chris, you and I wrote exactly the same message.
Something's going on there because I didn't write that.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't know. Something weird's going on. That's right. We're just gonna roll with the energy and see what happens.
Okay, I got something that's gonna make us focus. Okay. So I thought it would be fun to draw a sacred geometry card that would help us navigate these deep waters. Scorpio is one of the deepest signs you can get. So interestingly enough, the card that I just drew is transition. And it goes right in line with, this energy that we're moving through. And I don't know, I started to read it before, but we got cut off. So I'm just going to read it again. But I want you guys to just get kind of tuned in to that picture and that frequency because that'll really help us set the tone. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, to surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with grace and ease. Ah, that just says it all.
Are we off Facebook again?
No.
Oh, okay. And Nancy's comment, Nancy Louise just wrote, transition right off Facebook again.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Hey,
She's
Nancy,
afraid that we're
let's know if we're on. It's showing in on our end.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
We're good? Okay. Please, I'll tell you.
With grace and ease.
But yeah, this I think Chris had said this is almost like going down to a DNA level, you know? And when it's interesting, I had mentioned this before, but I think it cut us off. When I think of Scorpio energy, I always think of snake energy because it's so mysterious. It's so subtly powerful, you know? When I first was learning astrology and people were trying to explain the signs to me, they said, if every sign was a car, Scorpio would be that black limo that pulls up and you know somebody's in there, but you can't see them. You can't really see, you can't really get to who they are deep down in their core. So it's interesting. It just goes deep. It's an inward directed type of energy.
I like that description.
The car, the limo.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting too, because I've got a Scorpio rising, which really is just as important as your actual birth sign. Jennifer Soto, hi.
Hey.
Good morning, beautiful. Ah, love this lady. You got to start selling this stuff. This is like from the gods.
No kidding.
Jennifer made this for us, and it is amazing. Sorry.
So when you look at the energy, there's a lot of ancient wisdom coming up here, and this is very much what I'm hearing from Spirit right now for many reasons. So the snake is one of the symbols of birth for a lot of different ancient cultures. The Aztecs had it, the Peruvians, you see it in Greek mythology as well. It was a sign of medicine and healing and rebirth. It's also the Kundalini, which is coming through the Asian tradition. It is the sign of connecting earth to the above through the human body, bridging through the human vessel. So it is about transforming from the physical to the metaphysical, which is a beautiful symbol right now because it is that symbol of the intertwined snakes, is the exact same symbol as our DNA structure. It's the same. I mean, well before we ever knew what the DNA structure looked like, we were using that symbol to recognize the Kundalini and the rebirth in medicine in Greek mythology with Euripides. Who was the one who did that? I don't remember his name. But he had the staff with the snakes that intertwined and came up and ate each other. That rebirth, that cycle of life was always there. And there's something happening right now that's bringing it all back in, is very much what I'm seeing. And that card is a great representation of it. It's also got the pink moons going through it. And we got the pink moon coming up this week. The purple is the third eye. You've got that element. But pink, one of my favorite things about pink is it's almost like the hidden chakra, right? It's one that a lot of people don't talk or know about. It's the unconditional love chakra. It's above the heart.
Ascendant heart.
Yeah. That is where we want to sit, right? You've activated your heart in the third dimension. This is activating your heart in the fifth dimension. And you're like holding it and bringing that beautiful love energy down. So getting that sign, especially in these times when everything feels like it's whirling, just look at how settled that symbol is. It kind of just brings you into focus. It's got the swirl, but it's not chaotic. It's very clean. And I very much feel that that's how light workers and spiritual people are showing up right now, is that calm eye of the storm.
Very well said. I just wanted to point out too that higher heart in Qigong, we associate that with the thymus gland, which really is it's shut down at a very young age, and it has to do with fighting infection. But but you can reconnect with that. And when you think about that pure, innocent love, that higher heart, that ascended love, it is the innocence of a child, right? And it is staying connected with that openness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And both Nancy and Jennifer are talking about the chakra system. So the high heart, which we will do a meditation today or a channeling to activate the energy of the full moon, and that will be what I'm definitely feeling called to is that high heart energy. The Kundalini energy. How do you know it's been activated? I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and I don't know what y'all's ladies' experiences are with the Kundalini. Some people talk about it being overwhelming energy and something that only masters can do. That has not been my experience. I very much visualize something like the snake. I like the snake visualization, crawling up and activating and holding each chakra in balance and activated as it comes up and around. And where it sits there, you just kind of, for me, I just feel less physical and more energy. I just feel more like I'm supposed to. That's how I'm supposed to feel. I don't know about you ladies. You have much experience with the Kundalini activation?
It's a prenatal type of energy, right? It's cosmic. And it's interesting when you can connect with that level of pure energy that hasn't necessarily been tainted by outside influences, because it's held so deeply within us. I remember a story, whatever you want to call it, an experience one time where when I was deep into my Qigong work, I had gone on one of my hikes. I hike almost every day. And I had stopped in this little patch of the woods, and I was just I just stopped for seriously, a minute or two, it wasn't very long. And I was just doing this meditation not meditation, it's a Qigong type of flow, but it does activate Kundalini. And something told me, I'm really into it. And I just am into that Kundalini, that snake, type of energy just swirling around. Something told me to open my eyes. And all of a sudden, this literal snake comes out. It was just being, connected to my energy. And normally when snakes see you, they kind of, freak out and they, try to go the other way. No, this thing came so close to me. I'm standing here and I thought it was going to climb up my leg, and I wasn't going to move because I'm like, obviously you came, what brought you here? Do you have a message or what? But we just looked at each other, and it was weird. We had this connection, and then it just moved on. And so it's no joke, when you activate this stuff, it can be like fireworks. I had a friend that he had what they say you don't want is a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. It's too much of an energy shift for your physical body to be able to handle it and adjust. And so in Kundalini and energy rises, and it can really, he was never the same. So we all thought he was this amazing, incredible, psychic gifted person. But he said, I have to stay, covered up. I'm so incredibly sensitive. I can't go out, I can't do much of anything anymore. So you want to just activate that spiritual connection that you had, prior to birth. You want to activate that just in slow ways that build with your growth, your evolution, your transition, the word of the day.
How about you, Steph?
I kind of feel the same way about it as you described, in that it for me has been more subtle, more of a soft, graceful feeling. It hasn't been a big rush of, like what Katie was saying, if you had a spontaneous, all of a sudden, all of that Kundalini energy rises up all at one time, and it's, I haven't had that experience. I haven't had anything like that.
Yeah, I've definitely heard it described like that from other people. One woman, the way she said it, I swear scared some of the students away. She's like, yes, you'll know the minute it happens, everything just lights flicker, and it was so dramatic. And that just hasn't been my experience.
Yeah, and that's good. You don't want it. Like we hear stories and we're like, oh, wow, gosh, I wish that would happen to me. And then when it happens to you, you're like, oh, screw that. I want out.
Yeah.
I love when Nancy said she just felt an energy shift from her core and more openness. And that's what it's doing. It's that balance of, when you think of the yin yang symbol, right, with a little bit of black circle and the white and a little bit of the white, we have this prenatal energy, this spiritual energy that's deep within us to help probably balance us out with the overall, cosmic harmony. And so, yeah, it's just coming into frequency.
This reminds me, and I don't know what it was that triggered this. So last night I woke up at 3:33.
Oh,
and just like bolted up awake. I'm like, all right, Spirit, I'm tired, but go ahead. If you got a message, send me a message. You got me up. Do what you got to do. And all I could hear was that the earth energy is activating. And I just remember that was the message. And I had to, even though I wanted to go back to bed, I had to ground myself. I had to put my feet flat on the ground and envision root systems coming down from my feet, a big one from the palm of the foot going straight to the core of earth and grabbing her energy, activating with her, but also little tendrils connecting to the other energy beings on the planet. I don't know if that resonates with anybody or anybody had a similar message or why it just popped into my mind, but apparently it wasn't just for me. So somebody watching it knows what I'm talking about. Y'all are looking at me like I'm crazy.
Oh no, I feel like California had a little bit of a jolt earthquake a couple weeks ago, and I had that same, I don't know, feeling. It's going to be really interesting to see this season. Like they say every year on the East Coast, the hurricane season gets worse than the one before it, and we on the West Coast are dealing with fire. Just Earth. Rebalancing. I don't know. I don't know if any deeper information comes to you, Chris.
I know the other ladies are getting information on this as well, but I think that's exactly what it is. It's the rebirth. We're talking about the transition for a reason. There's a rebirth happening on our cellular level as well as the Earth's cellular level, and it appears really chaotic. And that's one of the things that it talks about with the pink full moon. Is this transition feels like chaos because everything is being shifted, everything is being moved. But in fact, there's a beautiful pattern to it all. It's divinely inspired to be exactly the way it is. But for us, it can feel chaotic. And I think if you take a step back, you see the entire world seems to be going through this right now.
Well, in human design, we study the Book of Changes, the ancient Chinese I Ching that has all the different expressions of masculine and feminine energy. And it's interesting, the 61st gate is the gate of the deepest inner knowing, the deepest connection between outward and inward and the universe. And we are going through a very long transit with the 61st gate. And so it's impacting us on a very large scale level. And I heard one of the one of the most respected human design teachers say that his explanation was, when we as individuals, as humans, whatever, when we go outside at night, and you look up and you see everything around you, you see the stars, the planets, everything, it looks so chaotic. It just looks like all this stuff is swirling. And 1 minute, the moon's here, and the next minute the moon's there. And it's hard for us to make sense of it. But if you were up in the cosmos looking down, you know what I mean? It's the opposite. It's flipping it around. Everything would look exactly how it's supposed to, no matter what. And it's like, Wow, isn't that interesting? The binary of our universe, the constant harmonizing and balancing, like you said, with the earth. As it changes, we can't stay the same. We can't stay rigid and solid. It's not going to work that way.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect metaphor or visualization for people who are going through this shift, is to take a step back, separate from the drama that you're feeling in the physical life, and look at it from through your divine eyes, and you'll see that it's not chaotic, it's perfectly divine. And I'm absolutely speaking to myself when I'm saying this, because the 3D world is freaking nuts for me at the moment.
Yeah.
So every time I step out and look, it takes the emotional charge away from what's happening. It allows you to handle things. It almost slows down time. Things don't feel like they're rushing at you. It feels like you can handle them as they come, because you almost see how they're slotting in.
Oh, someone just asked it. Can you re-explain Kundalini energy, what it is?
Yes, although if I get the definition wrong, please forgive me. But Kundalini energy is it's the light energy that moves through the body. There's actually a golden, or like a tube of light that goes through the body. The Kundalini is the energy of rebirth and birth that starts at the base, starts at the root chakra, actually connecting all the way down into the earth energy. And it moves up through your chakra system to curl back around the head, which opens up and allows in spirit. So it's like the activation of the light body. And I'm sure there's a much better definition of that, but that's how I always think of it, is that light snake moving up and activating my body and bringing me back into divine balance.
Ultimate life force. Yeah.
Ultimate life force. I like that.
It's like Star Wars. We're turning on the force within us. I love it.
True. That exists. I don't know if George Lucas was aware of ancient traditions or ancient information, but the Yoda and the yogi system, that's really similar. Energy work, the force. Come on, George Lucas. You copyrighted all of that stuff. That is ancient tradition. That is our ancient power that we are remembering and getting back into. But that is all super, super real. The way he set it up just cracks me up. This wonderful tradition of channeling your mind, staying in the present, focusing your intention, bringing in the law of metaphysics, the law of attraction. Like, damn, George Lucas, you should have said this is how people want to be.
But he had to make it all cool so people could relate. And we're very grateful to him for that, because it's interesting as the pendulum swings. I think we are slowly getting to this saturation point where people are going to realize that, they have to go back to wisdom and knowledge and things that worked, centuries ago. Yoda was a big green cat. Cat calls me Yoda. That's funny.
There's actually a really interesting thing when you look at that story and a lot of the Hollywood stuff. It's a way of, it really has the spiritual ancient tradition undertones to it, and it brings it into like the social construct. But you look at who's the most attracted to Star Wars, and it's actually like the scientific left-brained people. They love that without recognizing that, hey, this is part of your real world. It's the whole spiritual side that y'all say is mumbo jumbo and doesn't exist. Not all people. I love Star Wars, but it's just funny who that attracts without them understanding, there's so much, there's really deep roots to that movie and that construct. That's real. Now, I haven't been able to move anything with my mind yet, and I totally would if I could.
I know people in Qigong that have that level of ability. Yeah. Absolutely. It's like the old stories about the ninjas that could literally disappear with their energy, or they could be in one place and have another energy body, birth another energy body to go halfway around the world. And you would think you're talking to them physically, everything. But it's just, it's master of energy. And I was just reading, I don't know if you guys have heard of heart math, but
I love heart math.
Yeah, maybe you could talk a little bit more about it, because this doctor was just explaining that, really how the incredible amount of electrical force and energy that comes from our heart. It's like 50 times, 50 plus, probably like 100 times stronger than our brains.
Mm.
And yes, like the ability that as individuals, we could set intentions and manifest from the heart space. But if you combined, groups of people that had, understood that, and you could combine that energy, like the power that could be used, the more people that get out of their heads and drop into their heart, and lead from that place.
The HeartMath is an awesome organization. It's connected to resonance science too. If you like Nassim Harmon and Greg Braden, those guys have really bridged science and spirit in a beautiful, beautiful way. And what they've shown through HeartMath was, instead of what we have been taught, which is that the brain controls the body, it controls the functions. In fact, it's the heart that controls the body, the heart that controls the mind. The mind is very much like I always call it a hard drive in a computer. It stores information and allows you to react to things based on what has come before. The heart is actually the brain of the physical body. And they're showing all the ways that tapping into your heart allows your body to function better, because now you're living based on what your body needs, what your spirit needs, because you're asking your heart versus your head. What food should I eat? Are you thinking about it, or are you feeling it? What type of workouts should you do? What type of people should you bring into your life? Are you thinking about it, or are you feeling it? And they're absolutely brilliant with this. They've got all sorts of really cool things. You could check out their website, heartmath.com, I think it is, or .org. Awesome, awesome studies.
It's incredibly powerful. I'm so glad we're talking about this today, because, as we do experience this energy of, transition and transformation, it's not always fun, right? And the unknown, sometimes can really trip you up. And, just that practicing and building up of the muscle of having trust and faith that you are always, you're never alone. You're always connected. You're always supported, and you're always taken care of, even if it doesn't seem like it in the moment. And to really drop into, instead of that fear of being, what's going to happen tomorrow, of dropping into your heart and knowing the power that you have to set intentions and to have that strong belief system, have that faith and trust, and be able to navigate your destiny, to align with your destiny instead of fighting it,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And even if you just do small little exercises like that, this is one of the first things that I do with vets that I work with. All right, you're feeling stressed. Where do you feel it in the body? All right, you're thinking about it. You're running through it here. Now focus on your heart. Just visualize it and feel how that slows everything down. When you just put your focus in your heart, are you still thinking about the event? How does it feel? Has it shifted in your body? It's a different energy here. It's a much stronger energy, and it trumps what's going on in your head. And it's just simple little things like that, redirecting how you're focusing on things versus head versus the heart can slow everything down and makes everything feel a lot less stressful. And it's just like that. We forget, because life can suck sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially in times of high stress, your brain is doing the opposite. It's, it's pulling you out of your heart and into the fight or flight, so it's extra work to try to overcome that. But nothing good is ever easy. Or what's that saying?
That was it.
Oh, was it okay?
Nothing worth doing is ever easy. Something like that.
Nothing worth having is easy. So yeah.
I don't know that that's true exactly, but that's the saying.
Yeah. When I said it, I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Kat,
What?
What are your thoughts
on what?
Love, life, transformation, the American way, anything you want to talk about.
That's a whole lot. Yeah, I really am enjoying listening today. And just kind of riding the wave of the energy up and down and all around. I have had quite a few thoughts along the way, and can't access a single one of them at this moment.
I just love how honest you are about these things. Like, I'm just chill.
But did you see that? I forgot who it was, but somebody complimented your hair. I think it was Nancy.
It was Nancy.
Yeah.
Said you're kicking it today.
Yeah, that was nice.
This comment here, I want to. My first thought is hell yes, because with the energy that's going on right now, and I was just looking up the pink full moon on the side. I want to read some of the things that Scorpio brings in. So Scorpio is associated with transformation, magnetism. It's dynamic, emotional reactions. So hell yes, it is going to bring out a lot of emotions in all of us. It's going to uncover things that we thought we dealt with. It's going to bring up stuff that consciously, subconsciously, we just never realized was there. And everything is a little bit closer to the surface now. But there's a reason for that, and that's how we transform, because we recognize that it's there. Same thing with all the crap that's going on in the government, in the world. It feels so chaotic because everything's close to the surface. Everything feels very in our face, but that's the only way we're going to be strong enough to deal with it. So yes, there might be some, everybody might have some insane meltdowns.
Buckle up.
Definitely possible.
What's been in my space lately? I'll just say something about chaos. What's been in my space lately about chaos is the whole idea that I think a lot of times the association that we have with that word these days is not great, is like crazy and out of control and difficult and whatever. When I think the original meaning of that word is kind of the place from which things become, sort of, right? The place from which all possibility exists, and with intention, vision, and speaking, we can literally speak into being what is next out of that field of chaos. And so I just like to, when that's what feels is, that it's in our energy field, in our awareness, it really is a time of limitless potential, of greatest opportunity.
Absolutely. When you look at the transformation of a caterpillar to a butterfly, and there's always something big in the Buddhist traditions talking about that actual physical transformation. That is a time of chaos, but not in the sense that stuff is going awry, in the sense that the energy is moving very quickly.
What's sorry, yeah, that's where I was too.
Yeah, Scorpios have a lot of they have a lot of fire, don't they?
It's funny, Nancy. My husband is like a quad Scorpio, and it's like my friend that lives, like, seriously, she lives 2 blocks down. She's my best friend. And we were going to go for a walk. I parked my car at, I think, her house or something. And we got to talking, as I do. And so I said, oh, I'll be back in, like, I don't know, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever. And it's like an hour later. And by this time we'd gotten back, I think, to my car. And so we were sitting in my car talking. And all of a sudden I saw her, like, I was looking this way and I saw her go. And I turned around and my husband pops up like this in the window. And I'm like, and he's like, I don't know. I was just trying to find you. I just would, and I'm like, oh my God, go home. Go home. Like, you're so spot on, Nancy. You gotta love those Scorpios.
So Steph, how's the energy been for you? Has it been chaotic or pretty manageable?
Oh, see, I feel the same way about that word chaos.
Yeah.
As Kat, kind of the wave that she's on with that. I have felt the rearranging, I will say. I have felt the opportunity. Yeah. And that's how it's really showing up for me. is an opportunity to shift things. Triple Scorpio.
She is hilarious.
It's like you and my husband are friends. You're describing him a little too much. It's hilarious. Oh God.
So
Well,
not to tell stories about my husband and I, but we've done this. We found a little hunting, like a hidey hole in the woods one day. We were walking, so of course, him being the Green Beret decides we're going back out at night. So we got to get all camoed up. We had night vision goggles on. We're trekking through the woods. I don't know why, just to see what it looked like at night. Like there was no plan.
You guys have fun adventures.
It was a straight up adventure. Yeah. He was like, we're going out. It's got to be midnight. I don't know why. Yeah. That's what we do with our spare time.
Did you see animals? Did you see any?
No, not a single thing. But that place was creepy at night. Like horror movie, dead bodies hid in the back. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, that's
you guys are always welcome. Come to my house. We got a lot of uniforms. We can all go out trekking through the woods.
I'm so a little scary.
Do you have
all get night vision goggles?
we did. We had some when we were still active that we were able to bring home and play with. But now we just kind of go out in the dark and hope for the best.
Okay, so Jennifer has a question.
The question is, what is your practice to manage the onslaught of negative energy from those you try to help who lash out at the message? It feels icky, but I know it doesn't define me. I guess the first thing that comes into my field when I am present in that question is that I make a practice of not trying to help people who are not, I define willingness and readiness before I move into that space, because lash out in that divine space is, okay, I'm all over the place here in my head. Sorry. Not in my head, in what I'm receiving. So what do I want to say? I want to say that it's important to get I'm brain dead this morning, guys. Agreement, I guess. Two things lining up is what this is.
I don't know why the word dolphin popped into my head.
I'm just going to talk to you all like
dolphins.
Agreement and being on the same course. And I would look at when the course starts to diverge, because that's really what that is, moving at a speed it's really uncomfortable. Maybe the person isn't ready at all, or maybe it's moving at a speed that's uncomfortable. The first thing I would say is don't take it personally, because literally nothing on this plane is, not one single thing. Whatever is happening in somebody's field is all about them, literally all about them, no matter what your interaction with them has been. And so what there is to do with that oftentimes is to step back, and I always ask and receive information about what's the sticking point. But I go back to, I think it's important that person really wants it, because when somebody really wants it and they're ready for it, the likelihood that happened is diminished greatly. What do you guys think?
Oh, well, I know in human design, yeah, I mean, I have projector energy and I'm a guide, and that is the number one strategy, is wait for the invitation, because otherwise you're wasting your energy. And like you said, Jen, people amplify it with negative vibes coming your way when you're just trying to help. It tells you right there, they're not ready to hear it. And, go within, work on yourself as you always do. And that will, in its own way, help the people around you by increasing your frequency and your vibration.
Chris, Steph?
So I definitely get this every once in a while with it. Like I do a lot of video blogs. Just every once in a while, there'll be a negative comment about somebody who says something is wrong, or that the information I'm giving is incorrect. And every single time it's a hit, it's an energetic hit on me, which means that there's something I need to work on about that. So, but it is not about me. It's about them for sure. But it's an opportunity for me to go inside and see why that negative energy affects me, how to grow through that. There's no fight in it. There's no fight in any of this stuff, nor does there need to be. The information, when it's coming from heart, is true. It's pure. It doesn't need to be received. There's no way to make somebody receive. It's a divine opportunity for both sides. And it's a role that we're playing for each other. Each time someone posts a negative comment, they are giving me the opportunity to grow. It's not fun, but it definitely happens.
Steph, go ahead.
No, I don't know how I could say anything better than what the three of you have already said combined. But the one thing that stuck out to me was particularly the vetting process of when to share and what to share. Truly. And not exhausting yourself. Like, that's what comes up when I think about that, what the potential that there is for exhausting your own energy, for taking on what isn't yours, for, all of these things come up as possibilities when you start engaging in that way and you haven't participated in your own vetting process. An energetic vetting process where you are truly connected and intuitively making the decision, okay, this person, there's an open energy here, there's a receptivity here. This, what is being invited of me to share, again, to speak to what Katie said, because I'm in that same boat as a projector. Wait for the invitation is the biggest game changer of my life. And I practice it very well outside of my family.
Yeah, family's tough, and loved ones. It's tough when you see them hurting or when you get a message for them. Is it right to share the message when it's channeled to you for them? Mm-hmm. I would say yes. Now, how they receive it or if they receive it is not up to you. Sometimes you're just the channel.
I mean, I think it depends on so many different things. It's interesting that we're talking about the human design stuff because I'm a manifester. And there's no part of that that's like, wait, right? And yet there is. In my design, it's the same thing. It's with family and people close in particular because of all the other stuff. There's like a lack of recognition of what exists here, whatever that is. And I think also particularly with family sometimes, it is, you reach a place where it's appropriate to let go. I don't mean end the relationships. I mean, just let go a little bit. Like, and allow them, they allow you to have your journey. You allow them to have their journey. And it's okay to just hold space to be, to not share all the stuff because it tends to be a particularly, a space that's fraught with landmines, and associations and ideas that are just really inaccurate a lot of the time. The stories that people tell themselves and really get caught up in. And sometimes, whether you're talking about a family member or a friend or, somebody who's a client or whatever, sometimes the best thing that you can do is to just take a step back and reassess and let everybody reset and figure out what feels best for themselves. And that's that.
When you're talking, Kat, and this is something I've done once or twice in my life. There's a way to pass information energetically that is not physical. So if you get a message for someone or your heart is telling you they're not going to receive it, or they told you they're not going to receive it,
or you've tried again and again and again and again and again. Yeah.
And I've had to do this, and I'm not telling tales on my husband. I said that earlier, but because he's not into this information, he's not receptive to this. What I do is I go into meditation, and when I get to my higher self, when I connect to that higher self energy, I reach out and connect to his higher self. And I pass the information that way and just ask at that higher level for our souls to work through that message. And that's been incredibly effective. I've done that with my sister, with my father, with anybody I have struggles with that I know I can't physically talk to. I talk to them on a higher self level, and just that feels for me like I'm still passing the message on that I've been given.
And you
And
are.
one more thing, my qigong master would always say. I mean, he was a master at energy work. The best thing you can do sometimes in situations, instead of investing your own energy into stuff, is to just pray and give it up to God and give it up to the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. But that level of energy, it's like what Chris is saying, will know how to best navigate the message for that person's highest and best good without you having to deal with there's psychic attack, that especially from our family and our loved ones, that they don't even know that they're sending you these little jabs, because you said something that maybe pissed them off a week ago, but they are. And so sometimes you're better off to, remove yourself from it and let the higher powers handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree everything with everything you all have said. I think also when you're empathic, it is really good to develop a practice, super helpful, necessary to develop a practice of figuring out what's yours and what's not yours.
Amen.
And if it's not yours, how to truly let it go. And I think boundaries, dials, whatever ways that you can turn things up and down, and you can create practices around that awareness and what you're willing to take in or not take in, what you're willing to take on or not take on. Those are two separate things. And also know that a lot of what comes when you're working, if you choose to go into that space with a friend or a family member in a significant way, I think everybody does it here and there, as this thing trickles through or that thing trickles through, and it's just a quick share. I've never had an issue with that. Working with friends in a deeper way can be disconcerting, because I think when you enter into that space with somebody, it seems to me that ego involvement takes place a lot of times, and for the person on the receiving end, it can be a little raw, or feel a little exposed. Mm-hmm. And that can be an uncomfortable space to be in. Not everybody is ready for that. Not everybody, even though they've received other information from you in the past, not everybody is ready to embark in that way. The other piece of the puzzle too, I think what I'm hearing right now is the exchange of energy, or monetary exchange of value. I think that really impacts this kind of work as well. I think when somebody has skin in the game, so to speak, there's an investment and a commitment to doing the work that is not present when that isn't present. And to the point where I think it not is just a waste of time, but it actually causes more problems than if you did nothing at all. And I think it's important to remember that.
Yeah. There's that mirror can be incredibly uncomfortable. However, I know for myself, and Kat, you and I went through this recently. You told me some hard truths that at the time I have to absorb, and it's going to be an emotional it's going to be an emotional reaction, because at the moment it feels emotional. It feels you feel vulnerable, but when you can step away, it's a gift to be able to deliver that message to people, and it was a gift to have received it, whether it was fun at the time or not. it was meant to be. So there's absolutely no right answer for any of it. If there's love, if there's a connection of friendship, sometimes you just have to say what's on your heart, and how they receive it is that's where the faith comes in.
Yeah, and just because they don't receive it in that moment, or even shortly thereafter doesn't mean that it won't at some point in time be helpful. Some piece or part of it won't be helpful at some point in time. Thank you for being so gracious about that, by the way, because I know it's not easy.
You're the queen of the hard truths, but very important hard truths. And I gotta say, so when I joined DoD as a civilian, they did this whole like introduction course. It's 5 weeks with all the new employees, and at the end of it, we rated each other, which God knows is a recipe for disaster. Everybody's putting their thoughts about the other new employees. They were all really complimentary for me, except for 2. And I will never remember the complimentary ones. The 2 negative ones I do remember, but not because they were negative, because what they said, there was truth to some of it. And once I got past the emotional reaction to, fuck you, you're going to call me out for this, I realized I can be better. I don't want to come off that way. I don't want to be perceived that way. So how, looking at myself, can I see how that was perceived? And how do I check that? So even though I was very unhappy, probably for a year based on that negative information, it stuck with me. And it was something that I grew to work on.
I think it's important that we read the positive stuff more times than we read the negative stuff, because
so
75% of what this contraption remembers is negative for survival purposes, literally. And so there's the piece that you said, which is brilliant and valid, and not everybody chooses to invest that way, right? If all of us chose to invest that way, the world would be a better place. We would all be happier, because we would all be working on, rather than sometimes sitting in spaces of denial. And I think that it would do us all good to read the positive stuff more times and kind of implant it in there, because it's real and it's valid, and it helps us move through the stuff, the less than positive perceptions, the places where we have work, remembering that there is all this amazing stuff too, I think is important.
Absolutely. Again, we talk about the transformation right now. A lot of the stuff that's coming to the surface feels negative. On the surface, it feels negative if that's all that we look at. However, there's a lot of wonderful things that are coming from it. There's probably more to be grateful for in our lives than to feel bad about, just like Kat is saying. So where do we focus our energy? Hit me.
I just had an idea.
Get it.
There's some really interesting questions coming up here, and some really interesting conversations. And it's 11 o'clock and the hour's just about over. And I think that it would be fun to have time, like a special time during the week, or whenever, I don't know, or after hours, or like a after show, or I don't even know. I just had this idea where we could actually answer specific questions for people. I think that would be fun.
An advice column.
Like diving into, like just a little bit, like, Katie, I know you know a good amount about Elise's human design, and can probably address some things about her gates and channels that are making her feel a particular way, or why that would be helpful or wouldn't be helpful, or if you tweaked it this way or whatever. And then receiving information about whenever everybody starts talking, I'm always receiving information for different people. So and I know Chris does that too, and Steph gets I mean, we all do, all 4 of us do. And I just think it'd be fun sometimes to do that. Have, this space where we talk about, I don't know, more generalities, very specific also, but kind of generalities. It'd be kind of fun to have a space where we could answer these questions in a personal way sometimes. I don't know, just playing with it.
It means that we muse, right?
Yes.
Just we make it a verb instead of a noun.
We muse, yeah.
We muse.
I love this. Let's do it, ladies. Yeah, we could just set up maybe like a certain day, or everybody could just write in questions anytime and we would answer them, on a certain day. Nancy's saying yes. That's beautiful. Well, just to have, not all of us are fortunate enough to have, 4 amazing girlfriends close by. Everybody's so spread out these days. But yeah, I mean, we all have questions that you just want to throw out to your posse and go, well, how would you guys handle this? I got this burning situation. And then everybody's going to have like a little different perspective or spin on it. So you can take the good and leave the rest.
Yes. What I would love to see, I don't know how you ladies resonate with this, is first of all, that this group on Facebook is for that community. So post questions in the Facebook group. We will collect them through the week and make sure that we set up a time outside of the Sunday shows to come on and address those questions. But there's a lot of wisdom in this group. So I think if we post them as comments, as blogs, and let people answer them, you're going to get a lot of really cool feedback on some of this stuff. Share it with the community and see what you get. And I'm totally down for doing that. Even like a round table Muses happy hour where everybody who wants to gets onto Zoom so we can all see and talk to each other.
Oh my God, that'd be fun.
Versus us just talking at people.
That would be super duper fun. I'm all about the happy hours. It's the Irish in me.
You don't have to drink, but you got to be happy. That's all you got to do. You just got to be happy.
Well, since we are getting close to the end, do we have time for you to do a channeled message?
I think she's been doing it the whole hour.
Absolutely. However, I was thinking, so what I will do is I will create a pink moon meditation. Usually I do a jog and then I sit out in the woods, and I channel it in based on the sounds, the nature. So it's all very, what's the word I'm looking for? Audio? I don't know. There's a word. So I will do that, and I will post it in the group before the pink moon, as well as just putting forth. If you guys have any cool full moon ceremonies that you want to recommend to people, please post them in the group. This is a time of great transformation. From what I've been hearing, like clean your Facebook page out, clean out your phone of old phone numbers that you don't use anymore.
Can I add something here?
Absolutely.
One of the things that I think is the most lovely thing to do with the full moon ceremony that I think a lot of people don't think about doing is to include their non-human animal friends, family members in the ceremony. You can sit quietly and receive information from them, what you're feeling, trusted about things they want to let go of too. And include them if you do a fire ceremony, you can actually write them down on a piece of paper, read them aloud for them, and include them in the ceremony. I cannot tell you how many times I've done that and had animals just mush into me and thank you for being included in the process of the let go or all the other things that we do. So that's my 2 cents.
Nancy's like, burn
stuff. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's time for the fire signs.
Well, this is a water sign. So it's like when it's water, like you can put it on a piece of paper, put it in a bowl, and pour water over it that you've blessed, and then let it marinate. And then you can pour the water out and then, dispose of the message.
I'm with Nancy. I'm burning those things.
I like to burn them too.
It's so gratifying.
To get my animals involved, I get my sage stick out and they run for the hills. They are just like, I don't know what she's got, but I don't want any part of it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I've been told I have to stop saging the house. It's
starting to smell.
I feel like it lingers. All right.
Oh, Nancy, maybe because you have like 4 planets in Aries, maybe that's why you like fire.
Like burn stuff, fire, burn stuff, fire.
Well, it sounds like we've got like a good 4 or 5 people in for our happy hour adventures. So like we definitely need to do this. Like maybe once a month or something. I don't know. That would be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Building the community. We're the community, actually. Everybody's got a voice here. That's what we want. So that
was great.
Okay.
Like
we gotta take it back to YouTube. It says we're still on. I'm very confused.
Facebook is having a moment. I don't know what is happening.
Transitioning.
Yeah, it's exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, on that note, I guess it has been right about an hour, and this has been such a beautiful exchange of ideas and energy and communication. And I'm feeling very uplifted and inspired. So I hope everybody is too. From the comments we've gotten from the live viewers, that seems to be the case. And what an extra special treat. So we're going to get the pink full moon channeled meditation. And I'm just going to put this up one last time, because that way, when you get that meditation and you close your eyes, you can envision these colors, design, and you can make magic happen. This is a very, very magical energy. So let's create. And we will, we'll figure out details on the happy hour, and we will obviously be back next week, same time. So please catch us, and please share this out to anybody you know that would benefit from this show, which would pretty much be everybody. And let's just build this group, and let's start to be more active with what we're sharing in the group, right? And I just appreciate so much, as we all do, everybody that takes the time to show up live, because it always makes it so much more fun the more interaction we have. So have a beautiful week, and we will see you this time next Sunday.
Love you guys.
Bye for now.